Hello and welcome to Friday's ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the southeast. So far from home, so close to a new life in Kent. The family from Ukraine getting ready to meet the couple in Dover who've offered them sanctuary and safety.
I think it's just being human, to be honest. I honestly believe, watching the news, how could you not want to help?
A helping hand for young people when times are tough. How Jake and his Hub of Hope are reaching out at campuses across the country.
Also tonight, what next for the curling stars of tomorrow after their only dedicated rink on the Kent-Sussex border says it's shutting for good.
But a new lease of life for the theatre on the sea. How one community in Thanet hopes for art, colour and action in this clifftop complex. Good evening. A family in Dover are getting ready this evening to welcome 4 people from Ukraine who fled the bombs and guns in the war in Eastern Europe.
Gareth and Gemma Porter say it's the least they can do to help those in desperate circumstances. And Roxy and her family in France say Britain will become their home for a while, even though they have no relatives over here. Well, in Arras in France, Joe Cosham has spent the day and sent this.
Yes, it's been a long and confusing week for Roxy and many other Ukrainian refugees here in France. First, they were told there would be a visa application centre in Calais. Then they were told there would be one 70 miles away in Lille. Then they've heard in the last 24 hours or so from French politicians that there would be one here in Arras, which there is. However, it's not open for anyone to walk in or booking or to get an appointment with. You do have to be deemed vulnerable enough by the Home Office. Now, the Home Office say they needed this facility here in Arras, which is about an hour's drive away from Lille, because of the sheer number of people applying for UK visas. Now, one Ukrainian family we've been speaking to today has told me they do not know where to turn and were completely in limbo after what they say has been a terrifying and distressing journey across Europe. But there are hopes tonight that a new sponsorship scheme could be the answer. Hello, it's only me. The journey for all of the Ukrainian refugees has been tiring, confusing and full of fear. Roxy, her partner, her mother and her brother Roman, who is in a wheelchair, left Kyiv over 2 weeks ago. She's just 22 years old.
We were waiting for the train and I had fear. I said it many times, but this fear is like, you can't really explain it. It's like I was trying to hear something flying and I was trying to hear, like, I was scared of the bombs. I was scared that I will wait for the train and they will bomb everything and we will die there.
When was the moment you decided to leave Kyiv?
The first day when we woke up with bombs, they said that there was our airport in Kyiv was destroyed. So or airport or something else, but there were bombs and I was that much scared. Like you are waking up with this, like it was 5 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And that day, 24th February, we had to leave the Kyiv.
Roxy says the UK is the logical place for them because she was training to be an interpreter back home. However, they do not qualify for the family visa scheme and need somewhere accessible for Roman, specifically an adapted bathroom. This is the one they're having to use at the moment. But they did not know anyone living in the UK until now. Let's get a photo to send to Gareth then. After hearing their story and their specific needs from ITV News Meridian, Gareth and Gemma from Dover offered to redesign the layout of their house to accommodate them.
They just want hope and they want somewhere safe to be able to stay. We'll have a ramp made up here so they can access the wheelchair up into which we're now going to put a kitchen back in. I think it's just being human, to be honest. It's something we can do. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can go home.
Hopefully they'll be able to go.
If not, then this will be their home for as long as they need it.
That family in the UK, I don't have words to thank them. It's an amazing thing that they've just done to open up their family, their home, to people that they don't even know. It gave me shivers.
Soon, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is expected to announce a hotline and webpage that will call on businesses and individuals like Gareth to offer homes to tens of thousands of Ukrainians fleeing the conflict. Many already have, including North Thanet MP Sir Roger Gale when he met Sergei yesterday. That object he is holding is a pen with the Tory backbencher's phone number on it.
Ring me if I don't know where you're going to go.
Oh, yeah.
But if you call, if we can do something to help you, we will.
Thank you very much.
There is plenty of red tape to cut through yet, but the genuine willingness of people across the Channel is clear. They want Ukrainian families to know there will be somewhere for them in the southeast soon. And an update on that new scheme. We understand there will be a vetting process for any UK residents who want to open up their homes, and Community Secretary Michael Gove will set these plans out over the coming days. Now, although the scheme is being managed by Michael Gove's Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities, the Home Office, the Treasury and the Department for Work and Pensions are also involved in the talks, simply because of the complexities of the scheme. Now, an update on Roxy since we were with her earlier today. Her and her family have now been moved to another apartment. It has medical support on site and is much more suitable for Roman. They say they're emotionally exhausted from their unimaginable journey across Europe, but tonight, she says, for the first time it feels like there's a light at the end of what has been a very dark and long tunnel.
What a story. Joe Cosham reporting there from France. Well, let's stay with that story. And a woman has spoken of her relief that her 91-year-old grandmother has made it to safety from Ukraine.
But now Svetlana Smelianska, who lives in Ashford, says immigration bureaucracy is preventing her from being able to bring her to Kent.
It comes as voluntary groups and individuals in our region continue to head to the Polish border with vans full of aid for the refugees. Kit Bradshaw has the story.
Here's my granny and here's my mom.
After days of fearing for her safety, Svetlana Smelianska's grandmother has managed to make it from her home in eastern Ukraine to the sanctuary of Poland.
It was really hard for us, because she can't walk, we managed to evacuate her to train station. It was a big crowd. People was panicking, and with the help of volunteer, go to the border with Poland. Since this time, we feel such a relief.
This is why the evacuation was so time critical. Her family's hometown of Dnipro hit by a Russian airstrike just this morning. But her 91-year-old grandmother's lack of a biometric passport has meant a long trip to a UK visa centre in Warsaw, and still no decision on whether she'll be able to join her granddaughter in Kent. What would it mean to you to have your grandmother and the rest of your family here in the UK with you?
I'm fighting for that. I can't sleep, I can't eat, I'm just thinking. I'm here, I have my own house. I will not ask about money. I can sponsor them, but I can't have them there, you know. And now we are just feel as helpless.
In mid-Sussex, the final box of essentials is packed. This tailor has been flooded with donations of toiletries and clothing. He's now heading on a 5-day round trip to deliver them to refugees.
25 years ago, when I came to UK, the same things was happening in Serbia. So Serbia was bombed, and it just kind of brings memories, and I know what those people are going through. I posted on Facebook, and I was thinking, okay, it's going to be maybe 10, 15 bags. I'm going to have a little small, medium van, and oh my God, I was surprised because all community came together from Ardingly, around Sussex, and it's just been amazing response.
As Igor begins his 1,200-mile journey to the Ukrainian border, Svetlana is hoping her family will soon be heading in the other direction, to a loving home in Kent. Kit Bradshaw, ITV News, Canterbury.
And you can find more on today's top stories in the region throughout the day on our website. Go to itv.com/Meridian.
Well, in other news, a teenager who caused fear in a Sussex college by firing a fake gun and carrying a knife has been sentenced to 5.5 years in a young offenders institute. 18-year-old Sanjiz Dramanas fired 16 shots and tried to stab 2 members of staff. CCTV released today shows the moment he was tackled to the ground last April. Hundreds of armed police were called to the college and the building was put into lockdown. He'd been excluded from the college the previous December and was described as having a personality disorder.
74 people have been charged over Insulate Britain's road blocking protests. Kent Police said the prosecutions relate to incidents on the M25 and at Dover last autumn. It's believed it's the first time criminal proceedings have been launched in relation to Insulate Britain activists.
A man who attempted to smuggle heroin worth almost £250,000 into the UK has been jailed following a National Crime Agency investigation. Alexandra Kumanovic from Austria was stopped at Dover Eastern Docks where he was a passenger in a lorry travelling from Belgium. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 5 years in prison at Canterbury Crown Court.
An inquest has heard the former mayor of Forcombe near Sevenoaks died at Brands Hatch when he was hit by a car travelling at 95 miles per hour. Robert Foote, who was 67, was a marshal at the track when 2 cars collided. One crashed into the position where he was standing.
Now, refuse workers in Ada and Worthing are planning to strike from Monday. The GMB union says 2 weeks of action are going ahead due to its members' concern about pay, while the council says contingency plans aim to minimise the effects.
Kent's No Use Empty campaign has helped 800 properties be brought back into use in the Folkestone area. Its council was one of the first to sign up, encouraging owners to use funding available to make homes habitable.
Now, police in Kent thought they'd seen everything when they pulled over a motorist on the A2. The man was arrested for multiple driving and drug-related offences. But what really caught their attention was his driving licence, issued in Legoland. The 21-year-old from Sheerness was arrested for possession and driving without a licence.
You're watching ITV News in the Meridian region. Coming up, Holly Green with all the weather, and Mel Blore will have tonight's sport. Plus,
slip sliding away while curling could leave Kent for good.
And you can find more on today's top stories in the region throughout the day on our website. Go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Now, when things are tough for students struggling at college or university, what helping hands are available? It's a question worth asking as more young people than ever admit they're experiencing mental health challenges.
Well, one charity has launched an online intervention tool in an effort to help. It's a timely support. Latest figures show on average 1 student takes their own life every 2 days. Well, Universities UK is urgently calling for all universities to make suicide prevention a priority. With more on this, here's Amani Khan.
It's the hidden side to university life. Mental health problems affect 1 in 4 students. The latest figures show that more than 170 students took their own lives in England in 2019, a 12% increase on the previous year. Alice Hendy's brother Josh took his own life in November 2020. He was 21 years old.
It's my life mission now to stop this happening to any other families.
After his death, Alice discovered Josh had researched suicide online before his death. She's now created an internet browser extension, which once installed means if anyone searches for harmful content online, a pop-up box directs them to websites that can provide help.
It provides an additional layer of protection for young people and students who might be struggling. You just don't know what that person might be thinking and how they might be feeling. But at the moment, as it stands, this technology has saved 22 people that we know of, and I believe it will save many, many more.
Students at the University of Brighton say the browser extension would be beneficial.
I think it's a lot of pressure for students who are suffering to reach out though. So I think stuff like that's really good because it can be hard to make that contact for a lot of students.
I think it's very important that people know that there are others to help and specialised in those issues, that everything is okay.
There's always ways of making it better. If something's going to make it easier to make people's mental health better, then yeah, anything is good.
Okay, so if we can have a look at some referrals.
One of the mental health charities supported by the service is Hub of Hope. Here, since September, they've had nearly 300 referrals.
You are giving people that choice there and then. You're taking away the aspect of them having to go and find this help and support. And speaking from personal experience as somebody who has been suicidal, I know that in that moment in time, I probably wouldn't have gone and found that help and support. If it was handed to me, if it was put there right in front of me, then that would take that step and that barrier away.
Universities UK, the body that represents 140 universities, is urgently calling for all universities to have a suicide prevention strategy in place. The latest figures will be released next month. Amani Khan, ITV News.
Well, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. For more on this, let's to London and Charlene White.
Russia ramps up its assault on Ukraine. As President Putin's troops target more cities, the military convoy approaching the capital spreads out. We'll have Emily's story. She's endured 40 operations at just 14 years old after the Russian bombing of Syria.
I keep asking, what did any child do to deserve this? Like what's happened to my daughter?
Is Chelsea a club in crisis? What Frank Lampard had to say about his former club.
You say, me llamo.
And an entertainer for generations of children, the legacy of Sesame Street star Emilio Delgado. We'll have those stories and much more at 6:30.
Thank you, Charlene. OK, time for the sport now with Mel Blore. And Mel, what a start it's been for Gillingham's new manager.
Absolutely, just 5 weeks into the job and he's already been nominated for a Manager of the Month award. Neil Harris has transformed Gillingham, giving them real hope of avoiding relegation when all looked so bleak when he first arrived. The Gills at that stage were 10 points from safety, but now lie just 3 points away. And Harris says the fans can also play their part in the coming weeks.
All they can do is what they've done so far in the last 5 weeks. That's support the team on the pitch, support me when myself or we get things wrong, still support us. And the fact, again, sometimes silence is golden, and the last 10 minutes of the game where we got a bit of a doing at the weekend, there's no moaning, there's no shouting at the players, they support the players, the ones that left because they wanted to get the train early. I understand. I've done it many times as a football fan. I understand and thank them for not getting on at the players. And the ones that stayed to give a standing ovation, the couple of thousand that stayed, thank you for that as well.
Well, Neil Harris's side travel to Doncaster tomorrow, having not secured an away victory over Rovers since 2014. Crawley go to Port Vale, while Brighton will be looking to end a 4-match losing streak, but have the daunting task of hosting Liverpool. A curling rink in Tunbridge Wells is set to close at the end of this month, meaning players from Kent, Essex and Sussex will have to travel hundreds of miles to compete and train. Fenton's is one of only 2 dedicated curling rinks in England, so coaches are now desperately looking for new premises. Tom Savides has more.
Small businesses and local teams, the heart of our communities. eBay sponsors ITV Regional Sport Reports.
Curling has never been so popular. Think of lawn bowls, but on the ice, with a bit of broom action. But just as it's taking off, it's been dealt a blow.
All the time we're getting people's inquiries about booking and coming to have a try. We're also having to say that actually at the end of March the rink won't be open to the public anymore, and that it will be closing down. And it's a real shame.
This is only one of 2 dedicated curling rinks in England. Coaches and players are desperately looking for new premises.
It'll be devastating when it goes, and we're really looking to try
really any method we can to get a new facility going.
Steve's for line. Competitors from across Kent, Essex and Sussex use Fenton's curling rink near Tunbridge Wells. It's also the home of the South of England Curling Club. When the rink closes at the end of the month, players will have to travel to Preston or Scotland.
It's very frustrating for a number of reasons. Obviously, selfishly, it's really annoying because I now have to travel to Scotland to play or to Preston. So many people who love curling and want to give it a go and they actually can't now, so it's frustrating for the growth of the sport as well.
Curling has become increasingly popular over the past few years. Some take it extremely seriously. For others, it's just a bit of fun.
I saw it at the Olympics and it just looks so fun. You know, it's such an inclusive sport. There doesn't seem to be an age limit on it.
Team GB's only gold medal at the Winter Olympics was won in women's curling. Let's hope the closure of this rink doesn't let the sport slide into difficulty. Tom Savides, ITV News, Tunbridge Wells.
Fingers crossed they find their new premises soon.
Let's hope so. We could be good at curling, don't you think? We could be good at that. Now, after 2 years of dark stages and empty auditoria, theatres are reopening and seats are filling up. And now one of the oldest theatres in the South East could be reopened thanks to growing public interest.
But the Granville in Ramsgate could have a new life. Not as a theatre, but as an arts centre. And now a petition for its new role has reached more than 5,000 signatures. Glenn Thompson has more.
With grass growing out of the guttering, roofing in a state of disrepair, and signs indicating that the building will be closed until further notice, the Granville Theatre in Ramsgate makes for a sad sight. A public petition is now in place to bring this former entertainment complex on the seafront back to life. Kent Film Foundation, the body behind one of the bids to return the complex to something the whole area can enjoy, have been trying to secure the building since 2017.
And originally, we ourselves as an organisation and some other organisations in Ramsgate managed to get the building registered as an asset of community value in 2019. That opens a limited period of time, I think it's 4 or 5 years, under which community groups can bid for the building.
The aim is to make this complex more user-friendly by opening up 2 cinema screens, with one opening as a theatre, youth film and music workshops and a roof terrace. The petition to turn this derelict building into something the town can be proud of is now exceeding all expectations.
We're nearly up to 5,000 signatures. I couldn't have dreamt that so many people would have engaged. We've only been running it through a week. It's been the voice of the community, really.
Thanet District Council were not available for comment, but have issued a statement. The Granville Theatre is owned by the council and is currently vacant and surplus to our requirements. Our aim is to bring the building back into valuable use. And quite rightly, we have a duty to ensure that any community group looking to take on a public building can provide the full evidence required.
This is a space that has to be saved. I want you to imagine a building where anyone can come to, local residents, people that visit Ramsgate.
Local people with an interest in the arts are keen to see the former theatre reopen into a hub.
It really is having a purpose-built venue in the area, so we're not producing work and then taking the funds that work generates out of the area.
The Granville is listed as an asset of community value, and Thanet District Council are inviting eligible groups to express an interest in the bidding process. Glenn Thompson, ITV News, Ramsgate.
It'd be nice to see it back in action. See, I remember when I was younger, I used to go to the Granville and I remember seeing a fish called Wanda. That's how old I am. And my father wanted to walk out because of the language. So that's my memory.
Oh, it was a bit fruity, wasn't it?
It was a little bit fruity, but yeah, I remember going there. So it'd be nice to see it back in action. Have some new life to it as well. It's a lovely part of Thanet too.
It's great.
It really is, on the sea as well. Now, Holly has joined us now. And yesterday, Holly, we had daffodils, a beautiful sign that spring is on its way. And you've brought us some maybe
maybe not so glamorous signs of spring.
Maybe slightly less pretty, yes, but very important, very vital nonetheless. Should we take a look? Because today I'm talking spawn.
Oh, lovely.
Classic frog spawn to start off with. This came in from Ryan Greaves, and I love the way you can see really clearly there those individual little jelly balls
Looks
with the
a bit
little
alien-like.
It looks very alien-like, doesn't it? The little tadpole embryos in them. And then we've got this, another type of spawn.
Wow.
You probably know what this one is. A toad
Oh,
spawn.
toad, obviously.
Toad spawn. So very similar, but forms in these strings.
Wow,
so
it's
very,
amazing.
very distinct looking if you sort of compare the two. And of course, toad spawn leads to lots of little toadies. And you can tell this is a toad as opposed to a frog because it's got much wartier skin.
Oh, really?
And also, if you see an amphibian out and about away from a pond, it's more likely to be a toad because they're less good at surviving away from water.
Really?
Look how tiny it is, though, compared to that leaf. It's really wee. So I think this was actually born last year, so too young to be breeding this year. But of course they are all emerging from hibernation at this time of year and going off to breed. Normally at the ponds they were originally born in, actually.
Wow.
Got one more photo for you.
Okay.
Any idea what this is?
Is it a pattern on a new dress you've bought?
It is pretty.
Very pretty.
No. So I have to say I was fascinated by this, and I had to get the Sussex Wildlife Trust involved to help me identify what it is. It's not any sort of spawn at all, even though it looks a lot like it. This is something called star ascidian. Each of the little prongs around those stars are little animals, and this is something you find in rock pools.
Wow.
And it's not a spawn, as I say, but it also produces by creating little tadpole-like larvae. So that's how it reproduces. But I've never seen that before, so keep your eyes out around some rock pools and you might get to see some.
Wow, amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Holly, thank you very much indeed. So we are seeing signs of spring with more details. Here's Holly.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Some soggy old weather to end the working week. The weekend does bring some sunshine, but still some rain in the forecast, either in the form of rain or showers. Tonight we've got a number of showers around. They tend to die off through tomorrow. I think to start Sunday, though, we could see some outbreaks of rain. That clears again, possibly more showers later, and quite a breezy, brisk wind at times as well. So if you take a look at the bigger picture, this is the feature that affected us today. Tonight, as I say, it's showers, and then this low heads our way. Now, this is the weather front that brings rain to start Sunday. Either side of it, some bright weather, also perhaps some showers, and you can see there quite a squeeze in the isobars as well. At the moment, though, yes, it's a showery story. The shower's quite lively at times for tonight. An odd rumble of thunder or a bit of hail, perhaps not out of the question. Otherwise, some clear spells to be had, and temperature shouldn't drop much below 7-8 degrees, so frost-free as we head into our Saturday morning. Some showers around initially, but actually they do tend to ease off. So a decent part of the day looking dry. I think there'll be some reasonable spells of sunshine actually, but we have got this breezy south or southeasterly wind. Temperatures are similar to today, but obviously feeling that much more pleasant underneath the sunshine as compared to today's rain. Our high tide times, you've got Dover there at 6:07 and again at 7:03 into the evening. So yes, not a bad look to things really for tomorrow. Overnight, we have got that rain heading our way, so I think a wet start on Sunday. The rain should clear through, and again, something a bit brighter emerges. Still the chance of some showers. All the while, I think you'll notice these winds. A few showers, but some brightness for Monday, and a bit more spring-like after that.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
So not so bad tomorrow, that's okay then. In just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
For now, though, from all the team here, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.